very big. In terms of money, yes, of course, maybe we were successful. In terms of fame, yes, maybe we were successful. But because we thought that we were artists. So in that sense, we were always suffering and struggling to communicate.
Lennon would say that it was Yoko who had raised his political consciousness, where once he had been singing about love, together they began to sing about peace.
There's so many records, so many statements that we put out, all of which at the time were not that successful. For instance...
It's a bed-in, folks.
Theirs was hardly a conventional honeymoon. Following their wedding in 1969, the Lennons decided to do something constructive with all their publicity. From a hotel bedroom in Montreal, they staged a media blitz to protest the war in Vietnam. Their week-long bed-in was a pure Yoko-style happening, a theater for ideas and change.
The only way to, change the world is change their mind. We can do that. We can still do that. And there's no space or no time for negative thoughts, We just have to say, listen, we're going to make it. That's all.
I'm not for destruction, whether it's a table, a chair, or an egg tray. As a representative of the human race, I'm speaking for us all, whether you like it or not.
Whatever race you're the representative of, I ain't part of it.
The Lennons first appeared during one of the most disturbing periods in American history. Few took them seriously at first, but that changed. They were campaigning for a peaceful new world. What they found was a new struggle. In 1972, the Lennons complained that they were being followed, that their phones were tapped. Their charges were passed off as paranoia until John Lennon's visa was suddenly revoked. The Lennons claimed they were being deported for their anti-war activities.
They're even sort of changing their own rules to get us, just because we're peaceniks, really.
But government officials insisted it was for an old marijuana conviction.
I don't think there's any possibility that the government is trying to harass the Lennons.
Absolutely not. This is the kind of treatment we would dish out to anybody convicted of a narcotics offense.
But documents recently revealed under the Freedom of Information Act show that the Lennons were the targets of a massive FBI investigation during the early 1970s. Afraid the pair might try to disrupt the Republican National Convention, FBI agents monitored their public and private lives, trying without success to catch the Lennons using narcotics so they could be deported. A Senate committee began to investigate them after they performed at a rally and appeared on television with such radicals as Bobby Seale and Yippie Jerry Rubin.
Just totally pessimistic.
In a memo to the Attorney General John Mitchell, Senator Strom Thurmond underlined the Lennons' threat to national security, urging that it be considered at the highest level. He added many headaches might be avoided if appropriate action is taken in time. Censored documents show the conspiracy against the Lennons drew in the Nixon White House. They battled deportation for 3 years before winning their case. But the turbulence of the peace years took its toll on the Lennon marriage. For the first time in 8 years, they separated at Yoko's request. John went off to Los Angeles to record, while she resumed her solo career.
I don't think we would have separated if we were fighting. Most people think that, we must have fought like crazy, and then finally, bang, the doors close, and he leaves, and I'm crying, or, vice versa. No, it wasn't that kind of thing. It was like we're a nice warm couple, you know. And we didn't like that feeling of like an old couple, you know. We're constantly sort of people, we are people who need constant stimulation and excitement and a new experience, you know. And in a way, we were falling into routine in our relationship. Not a bad one, but I felt, and I'm sure she felt too, I don't know, but I mean, I especially felt that that was a kind of rut that I want to fall in when we're 80, you know.
Meeting backstage at an Elton John concert ended their 18-month separation. A year later, at the age of 42, after several miscarriages, Yoko gave birth to a son they named Sean.
People say I'm crazy, doing what I'm doing.
After years of singing about peace, it appeared they had finally found some, and together they withdrew from the rest of the world and settled into a life of quiet domesticity. Lennon became a house husband and handled the parenting, while Yoko ran the business empire. After struggling for years to maintain her own career, Yoko stopped writing and recording songs. She did it because she understood John's need to turn his back on the music business. Lennon believed that his creative well had run dry and that he lacked inspiration. It would be 5 years before the pair resurfaced with renewed energies and a new album they called Double Fantasy. Those songs and these rare home movies capture the essence of their final years together.
Why don't we take us along? Take a trip somewhere far, far away.
Happy birthday, my love, I'm an angel. I'll give you everything in my magic power. Make a wish, and let it come true for you. La 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 la.
Before you cross the street, take my hand. Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. Beautiful, 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 beautiful boy.
It's been very hard. It's getting easier now. I'm over for a while. We felt that we were doing just right, everything just right, you know, by 1980. And it was a big sort of silver hammer hit us, you know. And I had to ask myself, what did we do wrong? Maybe the only sin that we committed, because I was thinking, what was wrong? What was wrong that we did that finally John and I separated in this way, you know? Is that maybe we were too exclusive about our relationship, you know? We didn't have, John used to say, we don't need any friends, we're so self-sufficient, and, you know, it's great, and it's never boring, it's fantastic, and all that. But really, literally, we didn't socialize at all, you know? And that created some kind of tension and hatred from other people, and we just laughed at that. But when I think about it now, walking on thin ice, I'm paying the price for throwing the dice in the air.
On December 8th, 1980, an assassin's bullet shattered the Lennon's world. In her grief, Yoko found some consolation in work, the thread woven throughout her life. Just weeks after John's death, she produced these songs and videos fashioned from her own sorrow and pain, a public eulogy for her private tragedy.
make that film? How did I make that film 2 weeks after his death? I couldn't believe myself. And probably the reason was that I was in a state of hysteria. Just when John died, we were working in the studio that night. And we were both a working team. So it was almost like in the battlefield, and suddenly your friend died right in front of you, and you have to carry on fighting. And that was the feeling I had. And I couldn't stop working.
In the 3 years since John's death, she has kept right on working, campaigning for the peaceful world that she and John dreamed of.
Last April, in memory of my husband, John Lennon, New York City designated a beautiful triangular island in Central Park as Strawberry Fields. Since then, I have made a public request to all heads of state of the world to send us trees or stone from their countries to make this island into a garden of love, an island in which all nations could grow together in harmony. To the people of the world, you are my family. This is your garden. It is a gift from John to you. And I see John smiling in the sky again.
He's still with us. His spirit will go on. You can't cure a person that easily.
In many ways, Yoko still lives in the long shadow of John Lennon. She has refused to move from the sunny apartment where they spent their happiest times. Reminders of him remain everywhere. This white piano was his birthday gift to her. These were their favorite photos. In her office, beneath a painted sky, hangs another reminder, a portrait of father and child under a warm sun.
I'll do a headstand if I can.
Sean Ono Lennon once spent nearly every waking hour in his father's care. Today he is pampered and protected by a male nanny and by a doting mother whom he often accompanies on personal appearances.
And Sean and I enjoyed your telegrams and letters.
It is bewildering to be a celebrity at the tender age of 8, expected to deal with both the world's loss and your own. Like many celebrities much older than he, Sean Lennon has already developed a carefree public persona. There are sorrows, of course, but he wrestles with them privately, expressing them in art. In Sean's poignant collage, a paper John Lennon sheds tears for his now fatherless son. Starting over with Sean has been Yoko's biggest challenge. While John was alive, she kept a distance from him, still haunted by the loss of her daughter from a previous marriage. Abducted by the father, Yoko hasn't seen her for 12 years.
I just never thought that I would go through that sort of animalistic mother instinct, terrible that I'm torn away from the child. But I went through the whole thing, you know, and very, very deeply upsetting, you know. And I thought never again I would create a relationship that's so strong that it would affect my life when I lose it, you know. And so this time around, I decided from the beginning to sort of keep a distance with a child so I don't have to worry about all that. You talk in terms of role. I was more playing the role of a father, probably, you know. Come back home and just give a quick kiss and say, hello, what were you doing? After John's death, I faced this sort of little thing looking at me. Oh, it's just you and me now, isn't it, you know? And I had to create a relationship